Well, hello once more. I want to thank you for coming back to have a look. And if this is your first time viewing one of my videos about my stroke recovery journey, I thank you for being here. Once again, my name is Scott, and this is, wow, I think episode 46 in my ongoing series. I know it's been, more than 2.5 years now, and I keep going. And tonight I want to talk about something a little bit different because it's about recovery, but not just physical recovery, but kind of emotional recovery. As you get older, you realize that you don't have the strength that you used to have. And one of the things that you lack the strength to continue doing is carrying things. And not just physical things, but emotional things. The emotional baggage maybe you've been lugging around for half a century, not that I'd know anything about that, or longer. And sometimes it's time to let go of that stuff. And you'll hear people talk a lot, and it's pretty wise stuff to talk about the healing power of forgiveness. And generally, when people talk about that, they think, well, yes, you're right. It's time that I forgave that abusive relationship, or the neglectful parent, or the friend who betrayed me, or the whatever that I tried that didn't work. But one of the people that we leave off the list of forgiveness is ourselves. And it can be awfully hard to forgive ourselves sometimes. I know in my own case, I had a real interesting lesson that I learned about 10 years ago. I was talking with a very wise man, and some of the challenges I was facing at the time. And he said, well, Scott, one of the issues you have is that you're a perfectionist. And I said, really? I said, I don't think of myself that way. I said, I don't really expect the people around me to be perfect in that. He said, oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. He said, yeah, you're very forgiving and understanding of the failures of other people. He said, but when it comes to yourself, you just have no mercy at all. You just expect yourself to be perfect all the time in every way. And he said, it's really not fair to you. And at the time, I didn't know what to make of that. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized he was right. And he didn't know me all that well, so that was a pretty insightful comment on his part. But anyway, I've had to work a lot, and since having the stroke and becoming disabled, I have a lot of time on my hands, and I've been naturally kind of an introspective person my whole life. And in this particular area, I've really been examining it, and I've actually been working with a counselor to try and crack some of these nuts and only recently, frankly, has it started to come together, and the realization in my mind and in my heart and in my soul that I really deserve forgiveness. That yes, I have done some things that I'm not proud of, and yes, if I had to do all over again, I wouldn't do them. But one of the realizations I had is, well, if I knew somebody else who had done these things, would I forgive them? Um, and I thought, well, of course I would. If it was a friend of mine, if it was somebody in the family, well, yeah, we're all human. We all do these things. And it's like, okay, so why don't you forgive yourself then? Why is it so hard for you to forgive yourself? And I realized that certain things that I had done that I felt very ashamed of from my past, that I was embarrassed by, or that I regret, I realized, they weren't things that I did out of malice. A lot of them really were cries for help that went unanswered. So anyway, it was, I mean, literally, this was just yesterday that I kind of started to put these things together, and then it all started to make sense to me. And I feel so much different just in the last 48 hours. I can't begin to tell you. So if you're in a situation, whether you're young or old, somewhere in between, really look at the things that you hold against yourself, the things you just can't seem to forgive yourself for, and think, were they really so bad? You know, um, really so unforgivable? If someone I know had done them, would you forgive them? And if you'd forgive them, why not yourself? And I know it's a real important part of giving real meaning to our lives, to quit wasting so much time and energy lugging this stuff around. And time is short. I'm 67 years old now, and my time is years, well, it ain't long. And in order to make the most of it, you really have to get rid of stuff that you don't need to be lugging around with you anymore, and that's a big one. So with all your forgiving that you do, and believe me, forgiveness is a really good thing, be sure to put yourself on the list, if you can, near the top. And yeah, it's not always easy, but it's incredibly important, incredibly important. Try it and see, and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching. You know me, I love to get comments and emails and stuff and upvotes and recommendations, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.